Welcome to Survey and Beyond, the data collection podcast by Survey CTO. We share expert insights and practical tips on data collection and analysis, discuss innovative methods and tools to enhance data quality and security, and demystify complex data concepts to help people collecting data all around the world. I'm your host, Marta Costa. Joining us today is Yahya Hussein, Digital Programs Advisor for Oxfam and an expert in monitoring, evaluation, and learning. With over a decade of experience in some of the most challenging regions, including Iraq, Sudan, and Kurdistan, Yahya has worked in multiple sectors from humanitarian aid to corporate social responsibility, with a strong focus on leveraging digital tools to bridge the gap between marginalized communities and decision makers. Welcome, Yahya.
Thank you, Marta.
So, to kick off the conversation, would you be able to give us an overview of what you do at Oxfam as digital programs advisor?
Thank you so much for having me in this space. And it's a pleasure to be here. And thanks for the great introduction. In my current role as the digital program advisor, we operate within the impact team within OGB, Oxfam, Great Britain. As a digital program teams, we have two focus areas or objectives, which are supporting the digital journey of the countries in terms of providing ICT technical support in digitalizing the systems, such as monitoring systems, building MIS and interactive dashboard, etc. And on the second note, we also focus on influencing and advocating for rights respecting digital systems. So in this focus area, we operate as a network with different affiliates within Oxfam, and that includes Oxfam OUS, Oxfam Ireland, Oxfam Intermon, and some other affiliates. So the network is about coming together to influence for the rights in digital age. And in the last year, the team was successful to develop a policy compendium for the rights in digital age with a focus on 5 pillars and priority pillars for the rights in digital age that include access and equity.
So, thank you. Yeah, I think this is a great overview of what you do. It does sound like you do a lot on the digital side at Oxfam. And from my understanding, there is a focus right now on working to empower communities, right? Could you explain what is Oxfam's approach on this, and why is this so important to Oxfam's mission?
Empowering communities in Oxfam is one of the priorities, especially when it comes to implementing programs and the projects in a specific or different context. This is very fundamental to Oxfam mission, because Oxfam ensures that the people we aim to serve are at the heart of everything we do. So Oxfam is the mission about fighting inequality and injustice, and the true empowerment comes when communities have a voice and a say in the decision making that impact their lives.
How would you say that involving communities in that way improves or enhances their accountability and their sense of ownership in Oxfam's projects?
So again, in one of the there are multiple approach or several approaches that we use in Oxfam to engage communities and increase accountability of communities toward the services that we deliver to communities. Among those approach is feedback mechanism. Feedback mechanism which allows to listen to the voices, adapt our programs to their needs, and ensure that our interventions are effective and relevant. So for us, accountability goes hand in hand with this. It's about transparency, trust, and shared accountability. By fostering these practices, we not only strengthen the relationship between Oxfam and the communities, but also contribute to sustainable community-driven development that lasts longer, even after project ends. So in a nutshell, I would say that we don't want communities just to be a passive recipient of the aid, but rather we want them to be actively involved in decision making and impacting the outcome of the programs and the project that we deliver. And for this, accountability mechanism has been a champion tool for engaging communities and listening to their voices.
Perfect. So in a way, you are making sure that communities are involved in all stages of the data collection, and to make sure that their voices are heard, and that you can design projects based on those voices. You mentioned that one of the approaches that you are implementing is the feedback complaints and response mechanism. Can we dive into that a little bit more? And can you tell me, or can you explain to me, how does this work?
So a little bit background on feedback mechanism and how we were able in Oxfam to review the system and introduce digital component to improve the system, the overall system performance, especially when it comes to being responsive to the community's voices. So the feedback management system existed in our programs from early stage. So whenever there was a response crisis has happened, and at the early stage of the response, Oxfam teams has worked hardly to establish a accountability system, and for that, feedback management system was used to listen to the community need and the challenges, include these challenges within the responses. And in a later stage, we were able to develop and digitalize it. So the way the structure of the feedback management system works is that first, people are able to listen to the communities and feedback whenever they are filled or through different channels that we have, including toll-free number, suggestion boxes, face-to-face discussions, etc. And then people are able to use mobile phones that is fitted with Survey CTO, the digital tool that we use in our case, and they can capture the feedback and refer it to the relevant team. And then the teams will be able to log in with their own credentials and check the feedback, manage it, and then from there it goes to reporting and for program.
And in your experience, how has this feedback management system transformed the way Oxfam engages with communities?
There has in my own experience there has been so many interesting results or change that resulted from the feedback management system. I can share two examples. One of them, which has been recently, we have recently learned about it. I was supporting a team who was responding to an emergency in Ethiopia. So after rollout of the system in a period of 3 months, I have learned from the teams that they were able to use the feedback that comes from feedback management system and influence donors' decision. In this case, that the agreement or the time frame of the project has came to an end, but the community has requested additional support since there were some critical needs that was still not supported, and this has influenced the donor to continue with another grant for another round to support the community that remain in need. Another example, what I have been working closely with a team as a monitoring and evaluation personnel. I remember in one of the hygiene kits program that we had, females had reached out to a toll-free number, and so the project was to give hygiene vouchers to the vulnerable communities in order to go to vendor and collect the hygiene kit that they found useful for them, for their household. And we have learned from the females in the community that usually men are going to collect the kits, the commodities, and usually men are shy to collect sanitary pads. And this was hit like it had became trend when we were analyzing feedback, and then there was an immediate meeting or request for a meeting within the team. Then we had to review our voucher and make sure that based on the number of the adult female in the household, this and thanks to the support of our health, hygiene, and wash team for the number. And then we have put the number that this family is entitled to collect and sanitary pad. And then there was coordination and communication at the vendor level to make sure that vendor will keep the sanitary pads with themselves and pack it in a plastic bag. And when they check the voucher, they will they will add that to what have been already collected by head of household or the main member. And in that case, then later we have learned here a lot of appreciation from females on this initiative.
Great examples. Thank you. And it seems to me that a key ingredient for a feedback management system is trust. And so I would like to know more about how do you build this sense of trust with Oxfam's feedback management system. I think one of the aspects is using community representatives. Can you speak a bit more about that?
Regarding the building community trust and uh, making people or the people in the communities feel comfortable about what Oxfam about the feedback and complaint management system, there has been like a number approach or methodologies that we have considered to make sure that people do trust this system. And that's range from first information dissemination. At some level, this information dissemination it's stressed on clarifying the process of the feedback management system, how this feedback will be collected, and then how it will be processed until the final stage where how it will be used to make change within our programming, just to make sure that the communities understand the significance of the feedback and complaint management system. And on a later stage, we have also uh, used the community in some cases, like depending on the context, it's called either community worker or accountability worker, accountability volunteers, etc. So the terminology might change. But the idea was to make sure that we address a number of barriers, including language and people. These people are well known in the community. People feel safer to approach them, feel comfortable to speak to them since there are no language barriers, and they also understand the context better than usually the staff who are not living in the same community. So the accountability workers or volunteers have been a significant player in making sure that people trust this system to to more extent, and then it will enable them at the end to just trust more and share more. And finally, I would like to add one last thing is that for us to build the trust, we have also made sure that we have a system where we can easily track the feedback loop, and feedback wouldn't lost in one place, because usually we are working or operating within a team. There are several teams sitting together or in different offices. So to track feedback, usually it is challenging. This encourages us to think about digitalizing our feedback management system, and that really helped for us to be responsive because we realize that being responsive it increased the trust and confidence because at the end of the day it will give clear message to people that they are listened to. Because usually, if the delay happens, people will think that this system is useless and they will not continue. Therefore, we make sure that uh, our response will be in a real time and in a realistic time frame.
That's a great point. Would you be able to mention how people can leverage technology to improve that responsiveness on a feedback management system?
From our experience, I can say from my experience in operating within the teams. For us, first impression or perception of the teams was that digital tools can make us more accountable. But in reality, that is not true. That digital tools are there to facilitate the process in making sure that we are accountable and we build a trust with communities that we are operating. So for us, we have digitalized our system, but at some level, there needs commitment from the team members to contribute to the system in order to make sure that we are responsive. We make sure that we are successfully managing the feedbacks and listening to the communities. So going back to leveraging digital tools for feedback management system, it just require from the people to make sure that they understand the context and make sure that they check the community against or the system against the five A's of access, which are accessibility, affordability, ability, awareness, and availability. So, for example, if I am building or digitalizing my system, will this digital tool work in X community or in this village? If in case if they don't have internet access or communication means, etc. So I need to make sure that the system I'm using, at least if to consider that those far-reaching areas will also be able to access this tool and use it, and they are able and they have enough awareness to use the system, where to go if they need the support, etc. This is in case like of a leveraging system. And similarly, making sure you have a multiple channels for making sure that your system is uh, inclusive for everyone. You can also check the socioeconomic of the communities in case, for example, if you set up a hotline number, will this hotline number be free or people when they make call will be charged? So you have to adapt to make it toll free. And you can also have alternative feedback channels, for example, install a box in the community, sharing information about the channels, having banners in the community to make sure the people have access to the phone number, etc.
Besides the feedback management system, are there other approaches at Oxfam to increase this community engagement?
Yes, there is also another system we have again harnessed the digital tools to give another opportunity to communities, but this time without any structured questionnaire. It is just an open discussion and a casual conversation with the communities. So this system was called Community Perception Tracker, uh, and the Community Perception Tracker was mainly developed for the disease outbreak, and it was used for Ebola response in 2018 in Democratic Republic of Congo. but later in 2020, it was adapted for COVID-19, but this time with the digital version. The idea was just people carrying around tablets or mobile phones. The staff will be able to have a regular and a casual conversation with the communities and record their perception on different aspects of uh, the challenges and crisis related issues. And that would be the data will be then put in a place, and the team will analyze it and use it, process the information to design and advocate more for the community.
And what is this tool or this approach revealed about the changing of perceptions on the community?
This tool, I can say, we have learned a lot from this tool, and it was, when we started, or when Oxfam teams started digitalizing this system and rolling it out, it finally, like in 2020 and 21, I can say at the end, it was expanded to over 10 countries in MENA, Africa region. There has been a great learning from this system, especially on the perceptions around COVID-19 and the vaccination. So I remember one of the stories from Lebanon, where during the casual conversations, when teams were working on the data analysis, they find out that there are trending perceptions on access to vaccine, and people at the community, some people were willing to access, but they had challenges in terms of transportation because there wasn't any medical center to provide vaccines at the camp level. And then transportation was expensive for the communities. And again, when it comes to language, the form that people had to fill in order to register for the vaccine, what also in English, this was also another challenge that was deterring people from accessing the vaccine. So when Oxfam team has learned about this in the closely working with a partner in Lebanon, they were able to communicate with the community and involve stakeholders who are responsible for providing vaccines, and make sure that they provide cost of the transportation for the community. Team of the Oxfam with a partner, we're also helping communities at the camp to fill in the forms. Support was in terms of translation, etc. So this has made a really great change in making sure that the advocacy is happening, at the same time support goes to the community to be able to access the services that they need.
Do you have any lessons learned from using this approach and using real time data to adapt interventions in these rapidly changing circumstances like a pandemic?
We had a number of lessons learned from this system. So we learned that the, the system was more kind of systemic on engaging communities, that provided real-time data about the current thoughts and the behaviors, and it has been proven to be quite useful in better understanding people by providing more accurate and real-time perception. And it also enabled rapid analysis of data across the sectors during COVID-19 response and beyond, because this system are still being used to collect people's perceptions for different type of the responses, including distributions of cash, of hygiene kits, and different modalities. And at the same time, the system has giving us a chance to identify trends, anticipate the recurrences, and thereby inform future responses and preparedness plans, because the perceptions might come at the time where we have projects are close to ending, and then And when the trending analysis happens, then it really gives you a chance to understand additional needs, what needs to be done that will be relevant and effective to the community. And at the end, I would also add that this tool has been a very good tool to allow us better advocate on behalf of the population whenever necessary, especially when the system was designed to be very easy to use with a single form and ITT tool. So it made it user friendly, recording feedbacks or perceptions and rapidly reported.
Another aspect that I would really like to focus is the scalability of these systems. So, from my understanding, both the feedback management system, but also the community perception tracker, was something that you implemented in multiple countries. You know, what have been the main challenges that you faced when implementing these community-led systems in different countries?
Earlier, I slightly touched on these challenges. To unpack more about the challenges, I would say language and communication barriers are the number one challenge, especially when it comes to effective and critical communication or system like feedback management or CPT. So the language differences and the literacy level often hinder engagement. So to overcome this, in Oxfam, we have prioritized using local language, and whenever possible, is use the language that is widely used within the community or preferred, and then develop the very simple visual guidelines to aid the people on the use of the system. And also, more importantly, we have provided training to local facilitators on the system from like A to Z, how the system operates, to just to bridge these gaps. Another challenge would be uh, on the diverse and the cultural of the context. So understanding the cultural dynamic, because implementing a standard system across regions with distinct cultural practices and the community dynamics requires sensitivity and also adaptability at the same time. So the approach must be built in a way to be accustomed to the local costumes and preferences to ensure meaningful engagement. So in Oxfam, we have addressed this by co-developing the tools with the local communities and ensuring that the response with their this responses with their values and the needs while maintaining the system's integrity. Because otherwise, if the community doesn't have buy-in or feel that somehow he is skeptical about the system, I don't think we will have that successful. That's why we kept working closely with the community. And finally, I would also like with the challenges to mention constraints in terms of the resources. So limited funding and staff turnover, as well as technological infrastructure, has been a never-ending challenge that we usually face. In Oxfam, to some extent, we have mitigated the challenges by navigating this challenge with the partners to having partnership to make sure that the system are sustainable and knowledge transparent to the partners, and leveraging open source digital tools and focusing on the capacity building to create self sustaining systems. However, I would say the digital tool at the moment that we are leveraging, and thanks to Survey TPO, has been to some extent manageable in terms of the budget, and we continue using the system for almost a decade or so.
And I would love to touch on data security and data integrity a little bit because that's something quite important in a feedback management system, for instance, where sometimes you have a lot of data that is quite sensitive. So, how does a tool like Survey CTO helps you to make sure that you maintain this data integrity and data security in these systems?
In Oxfam, we follow GDPR policies, and these policies are to make sure that the sensitive data are encrypted and protected from public, or the privacy of the people we are working with are safely handled. So for me, I would say three things that made us or Survey CTO has facilitated to digitalize our tool plus our internal policies. One thing that Survey CTO offered us a robust encryption mechanism for the data collection and the storage, ensuring that the sensitive information from communities, members, and from people is protected from unauthorized authorized access. This assessment is really critical, especially when it comes to the safeguarding and the confidentiality of the respondents, as well as, I mean, especially in the vulnerable or crisis affected communities, because we usually don't see this, or people will be in really critical situation when it comes to the data protection. And then again, the data collection part. So the data collected through mobile devices are securely transmitted to centralized system using secure protocols, reducing the risk of breach during the transfer. And finally, I would say Oxfam uses the CTO access control feature. Again, this is has been super helpful for us to ensure that only authorized personnel can view or manage data, minimizing internal risk and data integrity.
Let's look a bit out into the future. And how do you envision the future of community led data systems?
For me, I believe, well, when if I go back to the early or start of the systems, I can say I am witnessing the future of the community led data the system like today, as it has been used, because these tools has been increasingly shaping evidence-based management and informed decision making in different settings, especially in post-crisis environment, and as well as in the crisis environment. So this system will continue in my like I'm hopeful that this system will continue to evolve to become more adaptive, inclusive, and resilient, ensuring that the voice of affected communities derive recovery and long time development offers. Tools like feedback management system and community perception tracker, I believe will play pivotal role in this evolution. They will enhance real-time feedback collection and enable faster response to those feedbacks, and more responsive to the decision making by the team in the ground. By integrating deep predictive analytics and community generated data, these tools, I believe, will also help anticipate future challenges, allowing communities to prepare proactively. I think what I would say for the future, uh, these systems will foster long-term accountability by ensuring that the marginalized group are listened to and their voices are amplified and acted upon. For example, the feedback management system will allows organizations to transparency and track how community feedback influence project adaptation, while CTP will also continue continuously monitor shift in communities' perceptions, ensuring that the trust is maintained through recovery effort. So the evolution of these tools will empower communities to take greater ownership of data, shifting the narrative of beneficiaries to collaborate and to engage more. So I think this will only strengthen community resilience in the face of future crisis, but also redefine donor and humanitarian accountability to people that they serve.
Are you particularly excited about any innovation or methodology for the future?
For me, I'm particularly, I would say, I'm excited about innovations that blend technology with the knowledge to enhance community perception and accountability when it comes to data collection systems, especially for underrepresented or hard to reach community. And also the growing availability of mobile data collection with offline capabilities like Survey TTO is a game changer and have been a game changer because these tools allow not only us but communities in remote areas with limited internet access to participate actively, especially when it comes to data collection and shape their insights by reducing technological barriers. They ensure that even more isolated voices are here. And to be honest, I would also say that I'm excited about how AI-powered tools can amplify participation of the communities and as well as analysis of the data. So in our cases, we have already been thinking about adapting AI for community perception tracker, especially when it comes to the translation part of the language. So how can the AI facilitate in in translating the perceptions of the community from different language to kind of a common or the local language, etc. So actually, we have been discussing this internally, and hopefully, the next year we will have invest more efforts to see how can this be possible.
Do you have any top piece of advice for organizations or individuals that are looking to implement, community-led data collection systems?
I would say spend time on the design phase, especially when it comes to engaging communities and invest time in consultation sessions as much as possible and listen and respect the diversity and the culture of the community. At the same time, create accountability culture internally and also externally within the communities. I would also say check if your system is if they align with the 5 A's of access, especially check if the system will be easily available for community, can community afford it, can and also check if the community are aware of your system. How can you raise those awareness? And then accessibility is the most important thing. If you are adapting digital tools, how can you make these digital tools available or accessible to the communities? And will community be able to participate? Will everyone be able to use your system? If not, what are your alternative strategies? Finally, so I would say meaningful change for me is equal to trust. When you gain trust and the confidence of communities and address their concerns, the change will certainly be meaningful.
And finally, do you have any resource? It can be a book, it can be a guide, anything that you want, any helpful resource to share with others.
I mean, in Oxfam, we have so many resources and learnings on these tools that I have been speaking about. People can reach out to me, and there are also available on open sources on Oxfam website. People can search for community perception tracker, feedback management system for the cases that has been written and put together and stories from the communities, how these two tools has been very significant and critical in project managing and implementing effective and relevant projects and addressing communities' needs. So you can either reach out to me or you can search it through. Oxfam websites for these tools.
Thank you so much, Yahya. It was a pleasure to speak with you.
Pleasure is mine. I really enjoyed this discussion, and thank you very much again for hosting me.
Survey and Beyond, the data collection podcast, is brought to you by Survey CTO. To find out more about Survey CTO and how it ensures reliable, secure, and scalable data collection, visit www.surveycto.com. And make sure to search for Survey and Beyond, the data collection podcast in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. On behalf of the team here at Survey CTO, thanks for listening.